So we've just finished up an amazing workshop with an awesome agent, John Savage. It's an amazing event. So
yeah, I mean, look, it was just to see a room of estate agents, some old, some young, but everyone learning something new from you. So it's great to have you on board, John, and to be part of the Real Agency group. So what's your estate agency story? What brings you?
So it started off the estate agencies didn't start off in the parachute regiment, but that's my background.
Right, okay.
So in terms of getting out of the military, my first daughter was conceived, and then it was a case of, right, well, I don't want to be in the army no more.
Okay.
Served in Iraq, what could I do?
Yeah.
So watched the Fly on the Wall documentary, an agent telling the world how fantastic he was, but I was like, no chance. I absolutely could do your job, but you definitely couldn't do mine. But of course, when I became an estate agent, it was like going from being an elite unit to what is actually going on in my life. It was an awful experience because...
So what's the difference? What?
So the difference is you're coming from... not everyone makes it into the parachute regiment. 96 of us started, 17 of us passed out on the very last day. Yeah. So in terms of like drive, determination, real willingness to protect people, wasn't here in a state agency. And so when I looked at the world of a state agency, I very quickly saw that actually, no, this is not right. We're saying things that sound nice in order to convince people to do something which is actually wrong. And from my military experience, I was like, a bullet doesn't stop just because it's gone past me. So if I say things that sound nice to a seller and they use that and base every financial decision and consideration on something that sounds nice, guess what? The agency is going to cost them thousands of pounds in lost revenue on the real value of their home. And I'm like, surely this isn't right. Surely this isn't right. And then I wanted to go, well, what is also the process? Because in the military, it's all about process. If I want to know anything, there is a manual that I can read, understand, execute. I'm new to the industry and I'm asking, what's everybody saying? What questions are you asking buyers? Who and how are you getting the deals tied up? I didn't know. And when I first got my very first offer, by the way, I was told, the buyer called up and said, you've shown the property to my secretary, I want to buy it, I want to pay asking price, it's cash, is that a deal? And I went, in my naivety, yes, I think so. Yeah.
So are you saying you got into estate agency without any training?
No training at all.
So can anyone be an estate agent then? Is that still the case?
At the moment, pretty much, yeah. It's still the case, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And did you see that as an opportunity or as a fundamental problem in the system?
Well, it's a fundamental problem in the system because I'm now showing property to buyers that I had no idea whether they were going to buy the house or not. And think about the husband and wife. They have made their house absolutely pristine for the viewing.
Yeah.
They have made time for me to be able to show someone their property. They've vacated. They've gone somewhere. They're trusting me to know what I'm doing. And I simply was showing property, but yet I was getting complaints when I arrived back to the office because buyers were complaining to my manager that I was showing them the wrong property. That was because I was completely not right for the job and absolutely had zero training in order for me to be able to have a platform from which to be able to operate day one, week one, and going back to the process, right, do this, this and this is the outcome. I didn't have that. So I would stand on a street corner with a set of details in my hand, feeling like a prostitute where no one was leaving with a happy ending. So I did, in a pool car, like, what have I done? Who are these people?
And I don't think you're in the elite case. I think 95% of all agents, unless you're working with underneath someone's wing who's going to really take you on and teach them all their ways and all their learnings, and they've been out there trying to forward their career and they're going to pass it on. Most people don't have that, do they? You've gone out and done it on your own, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. So from working with sales books and reading sales books and then finding copywriting and then going, okay, well, it's not about actually me selling a house, it's about the buyer buying. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If an agent is working in a good agency, for example with you guys, right, and they're day one, week one, that's great for them because they can learn for 2 years off the back of your dime. But that's okay for you because you're teaching them the right way so you know that they're going to actually add value to your business. But if you're going into an agency where it's like anyone can be employed 10 a penny, well, you look the part, so I'll give you a job. There's your desk, there's your phone, there's a computer. Get on with it.
Make some deals.
You know, so when like the word price reduction, that does not exist for me. I don't know what that phrase is. I can't even say it. It's like a completely different language, right? Versus, this is how we teach you to do price reductions. Agents should never be taught how to do a price reduction, in my opinion.
So it's very obvious that you're passionate about what
Yeah.
you're saying, and I didn't know your background actually, so now I understand. I can see what the passion is. You've come from a military background where it's clear, there's a system, there's a focus, and you need to be trained, or you could die.
Correct.
And it's not just you; it's also the people that you're there for.
Yeah.
You go into a state agency where it's a bit of a free for all, no real rules.
Yeah.
So your passion now, and we've just seen you deliver a fantastic workshop, is, I assume, is that you want to help train as many people as possible to get the training that you didn't get to help them fast track their way to estate agency success.
Absolutely.
That must be where it comes from.
100%, because I want everybody to know. So a seller, I want them to know that they are free to choose an agent that says things that sound nice, that locks them into a long contract that delivers nothing. And it's price reduction after price reduction after price reduction. The market's not quite what we thought it was. There are people out there that would happily use that agent because they would want that agent to say things to buyers that sound nice in order to coerce them into doing something that they probably shouldn't do. Equally, they have another choice. That choice is a level of professionalism where agents are elite, which exist, yeah, and actually deliver on the promises, but not just the promises, they end up over-delivering. And actually making sure they know their value and actually is worthwhile, that seller paying the higher fee. So my mission really is to tell sellers out there, right, that here is what the choice looks like. It's now down to you. So we in Real Agency and the guys that are with us, or the guys that are the broader speaking perspective, they don't have to sell every property. But at least if a seller knows when 3 agents walk through the front door, they're all wearing nice suits, they're all wearing smart clothes, they're all driving nice cars, how can they differentiate?
It's very hard.
Exactly, between
as a seller, I can.
That's right.
Say that.
So the one thing I always say to, if a seller's listening to this, or agents actually that want to become more than just an estate agent, is again with that consumer psychology, there is also cognitive biases, right? And one of them is called the anchoring effect. So the anchoring effect is, I, as an agent, give you a price. You now base every financial decision and consideration based upon what I told you, right? Doesn't matter that I've told you 100 grand over the money. Now, you're like, hang on a moment, John, you're just trying to sell my property cheap to one of your development mates. You're just trying to make a quick buck. No, actually, I'm telling the truth. Here's my evidence. But it's now very hard to get that seller to understand and be mouldable and shapeable to that. But at least if a seller knows about the anchoring effect, they can go, I've experienced that before. Actually, now it means that the agent saying 100 grand less, being able to back it up with all the evidence, is likely to be more listened to now because the seller knows they've got choice.
And, yeah, Roger just touched on your passion and how you spoke today was really, really passionate. So we only met recently, didn't we? 6 months, 6 months ago. I've been following you on socials for 4 or 5 years, and you feel like you know someone, and I don't think there's anyone else who talks from the heart and so direct to the end user, the buyers, the sellers in the UK more than you. And I think that's why you've grown so much on TikTok. But I don't know why I did it. Well, I reached out to you, didn't I? We had a little chat, and then I came on your podcast, and it was clear that you really want to make a massive change to the industry, and you really care about raising that bar, because we spoke about it, a lot of them about there's not the training, and the way the business model is in the UK, people, even good agents, they can't dedicate the time, the energy, or money.
So one of the reasons I joined Real Agency, or probably the overarching reason I joined Real Agency, is because you're crushing it, and you and Steve are also part of it as well.
Oh, thank you.
So when we're talking about knowledge, know-how, skill set, we are all in a particular chapter within a book, right? You guys are way ahead of me. No, but it's true. Because if you think where you are right now, successful business owner, underneath the XP brand, an Olympian, silver medalist, right? How many people could actually say that they've done that? That amount of people. So when it comes to I'm like, well, hang on a moment, if I drag this back to when I was really poor as an estate agent, and I was asking my colleagues, help me, tell me what questions I need to be asking, they didn't, When I found out, I put my parachute regiment head back on, and I was like, right, you lot, that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
You are done. Now I know. You should have helped me, because now I could have helped you, but now I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to crush you. Do you know what I mean? And that's not the way it should have been. But from going back to the point, being in chapters, some people in Rural Agency will be a page ahead, some people will be a page or a chapter behind where I currently am. You guys are way out ahead of me. Written books, for example, in terms of how far you are ahead. So what does that do for me? That means I get shortcuts.
Yeah, and we all get shortcuts because that being ahead, that being ahead is only in your head, isn't it?
Well, you see, you get shortcuts because we learn from you.
Yeah.
And there's I love a phrase, and if Steve Backer was sitting here now, he'd you know, success leaves clues. You know, in sport, success leaves clues. I remember the day myself and my training partner was a guy called Chris Akabusi, and we were invited in the early days. We hadn't made it, we were there by, you guys will appreciate this, a man called Daley Thompson. Daley Thompson was God. He just won his second Olympic gold medal in 1984. And he invited us to come and train with him in California. We had no money. He wasn't even a 400 metre runner. We weren't going to physically do much with him. But he took us on and said, come on guys, come out to California. We had no money. We found a little bit and we jumped on a plane, just the two of us. And we spent 4 weeks with him in California. And it was one of the most important decisions of our lives. Because just being around him, it made us feel that he believed in us, and that just by being in his presence, it made us feel world class. And I think that's what we're trying to do with the Rural Agency group, because as more and more people join the group with different skill sets, one thing in common, which is we all want to be successful and we want to help people be. The agency group is here to help people be successful, but we also help ourselves at the same time in different ways.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's all chapters, but I don't think it's you're at this chapter and we're at this chapter. I think actually there isn't. We're all at different chapters, but we can all learn from each other. But being around people with different skill sets and who are I know being around Adam and seeing what he's doing here for me and Steve is great. Being in this industry for us is great. Being around you guys, but as long as you've got an open mindset to just being around people, you're going to learn stuff by osmosis.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're doing.
And like Jay,
Everyone brings something.
And maybe not like a book. You know, when you were saying that, I was like, maybe it's like a puzzle. We're all different bits, different
nice.
shapes.
Yeah. Different pieces of the puzzle.
Because I think that is it. You know, I look up to you. You're looking up. You know, we're all getting
taking all the right stuff from each other.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things. It's a phrase coined by someone else, but he was talking about a guy in America was talking about forging elite agents, and that really resonated with me, because one of the other things he said is if I'm going to use myself in this example, it's 11 o'clock at night. John doesn't get a say. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. John doesn't get a say no matter how I feel. So in this instance, especially with you guys, what would Roger do right now for training for an Olympic event? Would he go, I don't really quite fancy it.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, well, I can only get better, even if I don't necessarily have the skill set, but I'm now starting to get the mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's the same for you, Adam, as well. It's like, so it was a no-brainer for me to be like, oh, can I be part of that? Because
you did say yes quite quickly, didn't you?
I don't think it was a conversation. I think yes, and that's it.
But what would you say to somebody? So your experience, you're at a stage in life, you're wise, you've lived the life. So for you, it was like you saw it, and for you, it was a no-brainer. But what about, let's say, the majority of people who maybe are at a different stage in their estate agency journey, who are looking at what we're doing, and it's like, oh, shall I, shan't I? What would you say to them?
Now, obviously, everyone's different.
Yeah.
And if I take myself as the example to the question, is going back to your point about my TikTok. My TikTok is zero BS, right? I don't care what I say as long as people get value from it and they win. I don't have to sell their house, but if they've sold the house and it's because of maybe something I've said, I've won, right? But from a business perspective, to take the leap and the jump, to go from maybe an employed role to a self-employed role, a lot of people out there are going to need, it's not just one opinion, is it?
No.
You got the spouse is going to have to convince their spouse, actually this is the right thing to do. And when you're moving away from maybe paid employment, and you know you've got that certainty, as we spoke about earlier, of money coming in at the end of each month, there are going to be people also as well that may not speak to their spouse about really what they want to do because their spouse may be like, oh, no, let's not take any risks. I'm saying, I don't know whether I'm right or not, but you're in this world once.
Yep.
Take the risk. And when you get given an opportunity, when people are listening to this, if you get an opportunity to suddenly raise your standard because you're with a group of people that have been there, done that do have the mindset, that have been through, when you stood up on the line for your silver medal, there'll be bits of you going, oh my God, this could be embarrassing if I finish 8th. This will be maybe, like, could I win
Mate,
this?
4 years before that, at the Barcelona Olympics, I didn't make the final.
Right.
We lived every day in a world where you are one injury or one migraine the morning of the Olympic final away from not achieving your goal. It is that fragile that you live with that uncertainty all your life, and you're fully aware that the Olympics is once every 4 years.
Yeah.
So you mess this one up, you've got to wait a long time.
And then you could get injured.
So you're absolutely right, but you condition yourself to make it as likely as possible, with no guarantee that you will deliver your perfect performance when it matters. It's the easiest thing to say and the hardest thing to do.
So I would say to anybody, based on what you just said then, who is thinking about what this is, the expanded element of this from a self-employed scenario, right? Or if there is a business thinking, hang on a moment, can I actually benefit from the platform? You get given opportunities in life. And I think sometimes I can't tell somebody else what to do. I can only talk from my own experience. And an opportunity has arisen where it's beyond or accelerated where I am. I could have gone by myself. I think I would have made it by myself. But can I make it better, faster, and be stronger with the likes of this group? And that's
Which is why we got together.
And will it be more enjoyable?
Oh, absolutely. No, it's true. Yeah.
Plenty of golf, plenty of...
but here's the thing, is from an elite level perspective, what is the difference? For me, I think you currently believe. I've been in the situation where, am I good enough? Can I do it? I don't know. Am I willing to back myself? And I think one of the things I heard or read in the book actually, not so long back, which was basically saying, if you were that person sitting on the fence right now, are you willing to tolerate your current position? Because if you're willing to tolerate your current position, don't do it. Don't come nowhere close to it. Don't even bother because you're wasting your time. But if you cannot tolerate, then I'm telling you, you tell your spouse, you tell your nearest and dearest what you are doing. You don't ask for permission to do that. And that's how it is. Because ultimately, to protect our own families, we do have to take calculated risks. We can't just take a risk and then hope for the best.
No,
take a calculated risk.
Make it as likely as possible. Surround yourself with the right people. Yeah. Ask good questions to get good answers. Yeah. And also, I know what we're trying to do is be part of a community of people who are there to support and help you. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah, absolutely. Where everyone gains. Yes. And win-win. Completely. Great. Well, amazing day. Been great talking to you. I'm sure we'll get on again soon with you, and absolutely. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Sean.